Hi, my name is Paula Fry. I have spent a lifetime investigating, researching, and trying the best diets and treatments for the pain and inflammation of autoimmune disease. The study of nutrition has been my lifelong passion. I've had rheumatoid arthritis for almost 50 years, so I know the pain of this disease. I am pain free today, so I'm able to live an abundant and full life. I've written a book called 21 Keys for Renewing Your Health, which is based on years of research. These videos are based on my book. I hope they help you, especially if you have arthritis, inflammation, and pain. My prayer is these videos will help you renew your health.
Hi, today I want to tell you the truth about grains and if they cause inflammation in your body. Well, the truth about grains is they are inflammatory, some more than others. But grains are so good for you. Many people are cutting out grains because they don't want carbohydrates. But grains contain all kinds of good B vitamins, they contain iron, they contain magnesium, all kinds of good things for your body. So don't cut out grains. Yes, we need to limit the amount of grains. In the United States, we've gone overboard with white flour and white rice. And yes, that will cause you to gain weight if you eat too much of that, and it's not good for you. But I want to tell you about grains that are good for you and some that are not so good for you, so you know what to watch out for. And rich grains are an important source of folic acid too. And that's really needed, especially pregnant women need folic acid. We all need folic acid. And B vitamins such as niacin, thiamine, and riboflavin. These vitamins help the nervous system and increase our energy. So it's really important to have those vitamins. White flour and white rice have been enriched with those vitamins because in the process of making them white, all those vitamins are taken away. And so the government learned that they had to add them back into them. So whole grains naturally contain important nutrients like selenium, potassium, magnesium, and they help improve the immunity, your immunity, and help lower blood pressure. So that's really good. I just want to talk to you about rice. Rice is a staple in many parts of the world, and many people depend on rice. In the United States, the rice grown in, let's see, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, and Texas have arsenic in them. What happened, the cotton farmers used arsenic as a pesticide, and it got in the soil, and it's there, and it's going to be there for a very long time. It was banned in 1980, but that's not that long ago, and arsenic takes many, many years, probably hundreds of years, to dissipate out of the soil. So the rice grown in the southern part of the United States does have the possibility of having arsenic in it. Arsenic also can be in the soil just due to weathering, and it's a natural element in the soil, but it usually isn't on high levels unless it's added as a pesticide. 1.6 million tons of arsenic has been used in the United States. So you can just imagine how many farm fields have arsenic in them. The residue lingers, like I said. They also use arsenic in animal feed even today. It helps the animals grow. It cuts down on fungus and different things. but that goes into the animals' bodies, and then I imagine it goes into ours. Another sad fact is that foods grown in those areas that used arsenic, like apples or grapes or any food, will have arsenic in it. And a few years ago, I remember on the Dr. Oz show, they had that there was arsenic in apple juice and grape juice. And that was several years ago. And just the other day, I saw another program about arsenic still being in the juice. I think it's better than it used to be. I think the companies have tried to they're a little more careful about where they get their fruit, but it's still a problem. So any food containing rice, like boxed cereals, brown rice syrup, baby cereals that contain rice, any packaged food, a lot of your gluten-free foods have rice flour in them, and so you've got to be really, really careful with that. I wouldn't eat anything that had rice in it unless it was organically grown rice, USDA organically grown rice. So how does this affect inflammation in a person with autoimmune disease? Arsenic is not good for anyone, so it needs to be avoided. Arsenic is known to cause lung, skin, and bladder cancer in humans with liver, kidney, and prostate, now considered potential targets of arsenic-induced cancers. So it's very carcinogenic. And I don't personally eat much rice. I just like other grains better. But if you want to eat rice, there are ways to help get rid of some of the arsenic. You're not going to get rid of all of it. But you can rinse your rice several times. Just rinse it over and over and over again. You can put it in a bowl with water and then pour the water out. You can cook your rice in like 6 cups of water to 1 cup of rice and cook it the normal amount of time. It's usually between 20 to 40 minutes depending on what kind of rice it is, and pour out the water that is on your rice that's left over. So you're going to have water that you want to pour out because that's got the arsenic in it. So those are different ways that you can prepare your rice. Consumer Reports said that Archer Farms organic balsamic rice is low in arsenic, and organic Indian balsamic rice, white rice, had lower levels of arsenic than other brands, but these are grown in India, not in the United States. All right, there's been so much talk about wheat and gluten insensitivity. Well, I'll tell you, wheat is a problem for people that have autoimmune disease. I just think you need to be really, really careful with wheat. According to my research, wheat was blamed for a lot of things: constipation, diabetes, heart disease, weight gain, cellulite, aging, arthritis, wrinkles, and leaky gut. So it's kind of taken a bad rap, I think. Wheat has been an important grain in America and across the world. Wheat has fed a lot of people over time. I just think maybe we started using too much wheat, and a lot of our wheat over time has been sprayed with pesticides and different things, and while it is not genetically modified in the United States at this time, our wheat in the U.S., according to everything I read, is not genetically modified right now. But Monsanto has experimented with genetic engineering in wheat production, and they're trying to push it through USDA. And this wheat is drought resistant and all kinds of things. It's supposed to be just wonderful, but I'm not going to eat genetically modified wheat personally. I just don't think that would be good for anyone. Monsanto also, I just wanted to read this to you. This is 90% of soy grown in the United States is GMO Roundup Ready soy. And if you know what Roundup is, it's that horrible pesticide that apparently they're spraying on the crops that is very carcinogenic. I just can't believe they're doing that. And I know part of the problem is in the 20th century, the Green Revolution came through, and the United States said, we're going to feed the world. We're going to stop hunger. We're going to feed the world. And science and technology worked to improve the wheat production using hybridization, which they were trying to find what seeds worked in certain areas, and some of the seeds cross-pollinated, and it's not genetically modified, but it was changed. They were using synthetic fertilizer, pesticides, and herbicides. So the wheat during the 20th century was radically modified. It wasn't like the wheat from a long time ago that they used to have. So personally, I don't eat any wheat unless it's organic, and I'm really careful that it is USDA organic, and I don't eat very much of it. I'm very careful with that. I was surprised to learn that white flour that we all enjoy using in our baking began being milled in 1890. So it hasn't been around that long in human history. The Swiss invented the steel roller mill that could remove the oil-rich germ and fiber-rich bran to make white flour. This flour was almost completely missing the micronutrients. One article I read said that the processing of white flour removes 66% of the B vitamins, 70% of the minerals, 79% of the fiber, and 19% of the protein. So people loved this white flour. It spread like wildfire. The Mexican made white tortillas, the French made the hard crust bread, the Germans had dumplings, the Italians had the white pasta. So all around the world, people started using white flour, and it was easy to use. They could use it in a lot of recipes, and they liked it. But most of the vitamins and protein and everything were removed. And people didn't realize the health risk of this white flour until the 1920s, when diseases caused by vitamin deficiencies, mainly B vitamins, began killing millions of people. People became more susceptible to the killing strains of the flu and pneumonia and other diseases. Some of my relatives died in the flu epidemics of the early 1900s, and maybe it was because they weren't getting the nutrients they needed in the flour. I don't know. I really don't. The evidence seems to indicate that white bread became a staple food in many households and caused vitamin deficiencies, which left the immune system weak. All right, and the U.S. government in the 1920s decided that they were going to fortify white flour because people were getting sick. A lot of times the orphanages and things like that where the children didn't have a lot of protein and they ate basically bread and a lot of white flour, those children are really sickly. And I think I read one of the studies that that was one of the heads up for the government, that they realized that people were not healthy eating a lot of white flour. So they started adding 8 essential vitamins and minerals. These were the same nutrients as still roller milling removed. The new white flour was labeled enriched white flour, and that's what we have today. And I'm just wondering, those of us that have autoimmune disease, if some of these artificial vitamins and minerals that they're throwing in this flour isn't causing inflammation also. Not only is wheat inflammatory, but I have a feeling that these vitamins and minerals that don't come naturally in foods that are added to it may cause inflammation. White flour is assimilated into the body faster than white sugar. And without the fiber, white flour is rapidly digested and assimilated into the bloodstream as sugar that in turn generates pro-inflammatory chemicals. So the blood sugar raises the insulin very quickly, and it enters the bloodstream, and then it stores the blood sugar as fat in the cells, and it's not burned up as energy. So most people are allergic to the gluten in wheat. The gluten can cause an inflammatory response in some people. Processed wheat is one of the most common food allergens there is. Arthritis, asthma, allergies, eczema improve when wheat is deleted from the diet. And there are a lot of gluten-free products, like I was telling with the rice out there today, but you have to be careful because they have rice that may have arsenic in it. A good grain, and I will tell you a little bit more about it, is quinoa. Quinoa is high in protein, it's free of gluten, and you can use it in anything. It's good in soups and stews and salads and casseroles. So quinoa is a very good substitute for rice or for anything, any grain. When they removed the bran and the germ, they removed the fiber. And fiber is so good for our body with the wheat. So fiber helps keep us from being constipated. Fiber helps remove the toxins from the body. So one of the main problems with white flour is it tends to cause inflammation in the intestinal tract called leaky gut. Leaky gut is a precursor to many autoimmune diseases that are becoming more and more common. So I like toast for breakfast. I make my own bread, and I use almond flour. I use a little organic wheat flour, not much, and I really enjoy that toast for breakfast. But I just eat a couple of pieces, and that's all I eat during the day. So I think if you are a big bread eater and you're suffering a lot of pain and inflammation, I would cut out the wheat and see if it helps you. Another grain I really like is farro. Farro is an ancient grain of hard wheat from Western Asia. And farro is a wheat, so it does have gluten. Italians have enjoyed farro for years, and it's becoming popular in America. I use farro just like quinoa, just about. You can use it in anything. You can use it in salads, you can use it in soups, you can use it in place of rice in any dish, and it's very good. Farro has 12 grams of protein, 10 grams of fiber, 120 milligrams of magnesium in 1 cup. And magnesium helps the nerves, muscles, and lowers blood sugar in the body. A farro salad is very delicious, and I do have some recipes on that I will share with you. Quinoa has been in the diets of people in Latin America for many years. This grain is grown in the Andes Mountains and is close to having a complete protein balance. So it's one of the grains that's almost a complete protein. Quinoa is low glycemic and the and inflammation rating, so it's low in inflammation, and it would be a good substitute for potatoes, rice, wheat in your diet. So and quinoa comes in red, and I think it comes in kind of a yellow color, and I'm not sure if it comes in any other colors, but those are the two that I eat. And quinoa is very easy to cook. You just put a cup of quinoa to 2 cups of water and cook it for about 20 minutes. You can also cook it in vegetable broth or chicken broth, and it makes it really good. So there are other grains like buckwheat and spelt. Spelt has been cultivated since 500 BC, and it's a hulled wheat, but it is a wheat, so it does have gluten. There's millet and oats. I love oats for breakfast. I usually eat still organic, still cut oats. I think you have to be really careful with oats too because of the insecticides that they use on them. So I would recommend that you only use the organic oats. And I like the steel cut because it has lots of fiber, and it's very, very flavorful. Steel cuts are one of the least processed types of oat cereal. Many of the prepackaged quick cooking oats are loaded with sugar, and so the inflammation rate is a lot higher. Oats are used in many cereals, granolas, which are usually high in sugar, high fructose corn syrup, brown rice syrup, or other ingredients that are not good for anyone, especially those with autoimmune disease. So I just eat the still cut oats. I make enough once a week to last the whole week, and I just add water to it each morning and heat it up on the stove. And I add my plain yogurt and sliced almonds, and sometimes a little cinnamon, maybe a little honey, and it's very good. You can add fruit, you can add organic blueberries, and that makes a great breakfast, and very hearty breakfast that stays with you. Barley is a member of the grass family, and it has a mildly nutty, sweet flavor, and barley has 8 essential amino acids, and barley can regulate your blood sugar. Barley does not have gluten, so it is recommended for those with celiac or disease or sensitivity to gluten. And the inflammation rate on barley is very low. It's just 127. So 90% of the barley grown in the United States is used to make barley malt, a key ingredient in beer, but it's also grown for animal feed. Barley has been used traditionally to soothe and calm the bowels, and the water or broth can be made from cooking barley. What used to be used to lower fevers. So it's been used traditionally. Okay, I've gone through a lot about a few of the grains out there. There are a lot of other grains that I have not discussed that you can research on the internet. But just remember that grains are important in your diet. And it's one of the few ways you can get your B vitamins. And it gives you energy. But just be careful with grains that have been sprayed with pesticides. And of course, if you have a wheat allergy or gluten sensitivity, please don't eat wheat. But there are so many other grains that you can eat. And remember that if you are a vegetarian, you need to eat protein. And one of the ways that you can make a complete protein is mix beans with your grains. And as I told you, quinoa has quite a few of the amino acids, so the two of them mixed together would be great. I make a quinoa salad it's a fiesta quinoa salad with black beans and quinoa and different color of peppers and tomatoes and all kinds of good stuff in it. And I just make a simple dressing for it with olive oil, a little honey, and lemon, and it's delicious. It's very, very good. So you can get creative with these grains, and you can, like I said, if you mix them with beans, nuts, you can make a complete protein. And remember, protein is important every day. It's something that you've got to have every day. Hi, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Please leave a comment in the comments, and if you have any questions, please leave those questions and I will answer them as quickly as possible. Also, click on the liked icon if you like this video. I've written a book called 21 Keys for Renewing Your Health. You can buy it on Amazon. It's on the Kindle edition or paperback, and I think you'll find it very helpful. I will have some more videos on my book, and hopefully they will all help you. So I'll see you next time. Thank you.